Hey y'all, today is Saturday, December 3rd, 2022, and that makes this the week 48 Cre8 Brilliance weekly update with your hostess, Jennifer Vanderbeek of Scraps of Life. That's me. Hi, how are you? I hope for anyone watching in the United States, I hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving last week. Um, or did I already say? Yeah, no, I would have said that last week, wouldn't I? Of course I did. Oh my goodness. I don't know what week it is. I mean, the fact that it's week 48 means there's only 4 more weeks left in the year. And yeah, things are starting to whoosh by. But I'm going to leave that in because that's just the state of my brain today. How have you been? Have you been enjoying the beginning of the Christmas, Yule, it's etc. holiday season, those winter holidays? I think of Thanksgiving as more of fall, and then everything after that is winter. Even though technically, I guess, calendrically, is that a word? Solstice wise, the solstice equinox schedule, I believe we are still in fall technically. But yeah, it feels more wintry now because Thanksgiving is out of the way. Of course, if you're in Canada, then Thanksgiving was 2 weeks or 2 months ago, and you're like, what the what? What can we say? Um, and if you do not celebrate Christmas, then I just hope you've had a good week and that you're, doing the most you can to do the best you can for yourself in that time. Not the most you can to be productive, but just to be the best you can for yourself. Do what takes care of you. To that end, let's see, creativity wise, what have I been up to this week? Well, I started work. When did I start that? I may have started it last week, in which case I may have already mentioned this, but Victorian Christmas is coming up this coming week. And so, yes, I had the urge to create a Victorian outfit. Uh, I'm not going to be able to get through the whole thing by Thursday. That's not going to happen. I will get the skirt finished, however. And so my main project has been getting, the skirt dealt with. And I did start drawing out I was looking to see if I had it up here, and I don't at the moment, to draw out the top pattern and everything. And it's fiddly, and it's going to take a little bit more finessing than a skirt does. Because, I mean, ultimately, while we think Victorian skirt, this is a very simple Victorian skirt that I'm doing. It is black linen. It's been called a walking skirt or similar. It's mostly a straight front with a little bit of fullness in the back. This is not the hoop skirt. This is not the big crinoline. It doesn't have a big bustle or anything on it. So I am just concentrating on that, and I will throw on a white button down, a sweater or shawl over it. Find a good pin that'll make a nice brooch at my throat. We'll make it work. That's what we do. We make it work. But yes, so I've been working on that. I did a little bit more knitting or crocheting on my sweater, which, granted, if I want to be able to wear this holiday season, I've gotta get on the ball with that one. We'll see. We shall see. It's not technically a Christmas sweater, but it would be good for the holidays. So we'll see how far I go. And then one thing I did really quick yesterday that I can actually show you, because if I showed you the Victorian skirt, it's just not going to look like anything right now because it's just a column of black linen fabric. Yeah. But anyway, so when I went into work yesterday, my boss just like, oh, we got some new crochet books in I wanted to show you. And one of them was this one, the Granny Square Source Book. This is not sponsored in any way, shape, or form. I was just showing you what it was from in case you're curious. But I was flipping through it, and there are so many cute patterns, so many cute granny squares, both simple and complex and inventive and just so cool. But I saw one and I'm like, oh, it was called a nectarine because of the coloration, but I'm like, it would not take that much to change that into a peach. And so, yes, I had to do a little Georgia peach swatch and, or a square. And this took an hour. But it was a great hour. It was actually half an hour before my Twitch stream on, Friday, and then half an hour like after dinner and going out and stuff. So yeah, I mean, it's so cute though. It's so cute. And there were other fruits and stuff, and I'm like, I could just see like making like a little garland or something or bunting out of this. It'd be adorable. Anyway, so I did that. Speaking of the Twitch stream, I'm still working on, still been kind of plugging away at a design that I started a couple weeks ago. Technically it's Christmas cactus, but you know, Christmas cactus, there's also cousins that are Easter and Thanksgiving cactus. So we're not going to worry too much about timing on that one. We're just going to make it a really good design. So yeah, I got some more work done on that on Friday. Wednesday, I would have worked on it. However, I got up Wednesday after sleeping, you know, a good full night's rest. I got up, came downstairs, you know, had something to eat, sat down, started working on edits for book 4. And it was about an hour, hour and a half after I got up, and body just said, nope, we need to go back to sleep. No ifs, ands, or buts. And so I ended up skipping my stream, which I'm not proud of, but it just is what it happens. And I laid down and I slept until Todd woke me up for dinner. And then I still went to bed early for me. I mean, you know, considering I might go to sleep at like 2, 3 in the morning, on average, the fact that I went upstairs and went to bed at about midnight, 1 a.m., that was early for me. So yeah, apparently my body just needed sleep. And, you know, it kind of and I kind of felt bad for quote unquote wasting the day, wasting time. Did I get a little bit done that day? Sure. But did I get everything I'd intended to do done? Not a chance. I sort of made up for it Thursday. Thursday, I decided to spend all afternoon baking cookies, and I made 7 different types of cookies. Some of which are going with me tonight, which will have been last night by the time this is posted, to a get together, and others, you know, just for here at the house. It kind of, you know, it took care of my baking urge for the month, probably. We'll see. But it was nice. It was nice to just get in the kitchen, and I had a nice little, you know, I'd written down all the ingredients. I made my shorthand of the recipes so that I could kind of keep myself organized. I had to go grab a couple things from the store. And then I spent like 4.5 hours baking, and it was lovely. And I felt very good about myself. It's the little things, right? And again, could that time have been spent doing fill in the blank? Yes, absolutely. Was it just as important for me to do the baking, which I'm now able to share with other people and stuff like that? Yeah, that's just as important. Everything will happen in its own time. Which brings me to this week's thoughts on Brilliance. Brilliance is timeless. We as human beings, we understand this concept of time. Well, at least as adults. You know, as kids, it's like when you're trying to explain, oh, it's in an hour or in a week or in a month. It's really hard for kids to wrap their heads around the concept of time because it hasn't been like enmeshed into their life yet. They're not ruled by a clock, at least directly. I mean, you know, they are, but they're not aware of it as much until we teach them. You know, they know that it's time to wake up, or it's like they're no longer sleepy, or they are sleepy, or they're hungry, or, you know, and over time we get into these, you know, our rhythms get established. We work at certain times, or we have dinner at a certain time, or this is lunchtime, and that we get into these routines. And the older we get, the faster time seems to fly. It's like when I said at the beginning, it's like, you know, we're in December, there's 4 weeks left of the year. Holy cats, the year is rushing by. And there's the theory, I don't know if this has been proven or if it's still just a thought being discussed or what have you. But there's the thought that it seems like time flies faster the older we get because our memories encapsulate a moment or series of moments that are a smaller and smaller portion of our lifespan the older we get, or something to that effect. So a week when we were 9 years old felt like forever. 3 months of summer. Oh, blessed relief. And yet, when we're older, a week goes by in an instant. Because comparatively, percentage wise, that week is such a small percentage of our lived experience. And so, that could be why it seems to go faster. Or 3 months of summer, being like, where did it go? A whole year, where did it go? When you only have 9 years under your belt, a year is okay. Let's not do that. Let's do if you're a 10-year-old. So you just turned 10. A year is a tenth of your, it's at that's 10% of your life so far, right? So it's a lot compared to when you're, say, 50 and you're thinking about a year, then it's 2%, if I did my quick back of the brain math correctly. Yeah, so think about that. I mean, anyway, so when I say brilliance is timeless, it means that what I mean, at least, is that it sometimes cannot be measured in the amount of time it takes. Brilliance happens in an instant, but like that spark of brilliance, that idea, that thought, but it also takes, time to come to fruition, to be fulfilled. And while this is not me saying, oh, deadlines, don't need them. No, I need deadlines. I need deadlines. I need milestones. I need, benchmarks, all those things. They keep me moving forward, right? For a lot of people, it's the same thing. It's just what I'm thinking, what's kind of playing around in my head is that we get locked into the, if it doesn't happen by X point, then there's no point. If I'm not, if I don't succeed, whatever our nebulous concept of success in that moment is, but if I don't succeed by, this age or in this amount of time, then I have failed. But brilliance is still possible. Brilliance takes as long as it takes. And that's what I mean by it being timeless. And so keeping that in mind, I'm trying to be gentler with myself. I need to be like firm and stern with myself in some areas because I need to make sure that I do get things done. I can't just, blow around in the wind and ignore the realities of life. But I can also not be that taskmaster, standing, it's like we have the little two angels standing on our shoulders, right? The one says, oh, take as much time as you need. The other one says, do it now or you're finished. Whatever the extremes are for you. And, it's not one or the other. It's finding that middle part. It's finding that ability to be graceful with ourselves when it does take longer than we expect, because everything seems to take longer than we expect, or at least for me. Those folks out there who can like accurately estimate how long it takes to do any given thing, oh my goodness, that's an amazing talent. That's an amazing skill. It's not one that we're not even close to perfection. We don't say perfected because perfect is unattainable, but that's not even one I've got a lot of practice with because I'm continually underestimating how long something takes. That's clearly not the way my brain sees it. So I've become a bit more gentle with myself. Because if we have that stranglehold on time, on the calendar, on the clock, we lose the ability sometimes, I think, to achieve brilliance, to find those moments of brilliance throughout our day, throughout our week, throughout our life. And so if we can loosen up a little bit, loosen up that stranglehold, and we can set boundaries, we can keep things between the navigational buoys, as they say, which I believe that was Jimmy Buffett on an Alan Jackson song, but I can't think of the title right now. Yeah, if we can do that, then we can give ourselves enough grace to take those moments of brilliance and make them into something, instead of feeling like a failure or being so harried and overworked and pressured that we break down, that we burn out. as someone who is still recovering from career burnout, and it's not the first time even um, in my life that I've dealt with that. Yeah, it's important not to get to that point. You don't want to get to that point. Sometimes it happens despite every every opportunity not to. I mean, or every safeguard against it. It still might happen. But, you know, riding hell for leather towards the edge of a cliff is what burnout is, because once you get to that point, there is no stopping, there is no turning back. You're going to fall off that cliff. You're burnt out. You're burnt to a crisp, and it's going to take a long time to reach bottom. They say an average of 3 to 5 years. I was just talking about this with someone today, that it takes time to recover from that, to get your equilibrium back, to be willing to walk into or walk onto that path again, if you ever do. And so, yeah, for me, I guess I'm at about, getting close to a year and a half into just the 3-year portion. So, but, and it's become more and more apparent that I do need to give myself that grace. And even just to admit that, yeah, I was burnt out, because I didn't even want to say that at first. I didn't want that to get around, that, because burnout just seemed like such a horrible, the stigma of it. But I know the mistakes I made that played into that, and I also know the conditions, the outside conditions in the workplace, series of workplaces, the global situation, because let's face it, I think a lot of people ran into big old walls when we were all going through the pandemic and everything, right? We realized a lot about what time, how important time is, and how important all of these things are. And yeah, it's super important that we do what's important to us, not just what's important to somebody else. But that's a whole nother tangent. The point was, brilliance is timeless, and we have to release the idea that brilliance happens on a schedule. There, I've summed it up. I've been blathering for, 15 minutes on this. That sums it up. We have to release the idea that brilliance happens on a schedule. Yeah. I'm just going to end it there, because I don't think I can say anything better than that sentence right now. So, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you so much for checking in with me, being here with me as I continue to figure out what I'm supposed to be doing and how I'm supposed to be doing it, and hopefully encouraging you, if you're in the same boat as I am, or thinking about getting into that boat, of casting out on your own, or being a full-time creative. I'm not to what I would call success yet, but it's still the goal. It's still the shore, and we're getting there. We're getting there. I'm going to stop mixing metaphors now. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself. Do something creative for yourself. And then, yeah, if you have the time, inclination, and bandwidth, take care of those around you. But until then, never be afraid to show the world your brilliance. All right. I'll see you next time. Bye.